What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? We are back. This is the legendary season 2, episode 3. So, listen, a couple of things. First of all, this is going to be our first themed ball because the first part was the Grand March, part 1 and part 2. We are down to 8 houses, and this is Tinseltown Ball. Now, I'm going to say this. Now, the two things we're supposed to be looking for is they're selling face and best dress. So, that's what the judges are supposed to be looking for. Who's giving face and best dress. Now, let me say there's a couple of things first before we get started. First of all, I like the fact that we're seeing a lot of the alumni from last season working with the choreography. We saw, I think it was Jamal Lavin. We saw the father from the house of Balmain that won last season, and they're helping with the choreography. So I love the fact that we're seeing people from last season working now and working with these houses. I thought that was beautiful. The other thing, we had a judge this week. We had Nico Anand, aka Uncle Clifford, down to the Pank. And I loved him. I don't know what his background is as far as ballroom and dance, but the way he talked with the critiques, it sounds like he was very knowledgeable. If nothing else, dance. He understood choreography, he understood silhouettes, he understood movement. And so I was here for all of that, okay? I'm always here for a judge that's going to be that's going to give a good critique and not just there because whatever. Here's where they lost me. And y'all correct me. In the beginning, when they were talking about it, I thought we were going to see a lot of old Hollywood. I thought we were going to see a lot of, like, the theme was Tinseltown, so I thought we were going to see a whole lot of, like, the glamour, because that's what they were saying, that that's what they wanted to see, the glamour of old Hollywood. And, La Roche came out with the good old finger waves from, like, the 1950s, honey. And, of course, all of the judges were dressed for the theme. The first 2 houses gave us that. And then we just sort of kind of got into decades. And so I felt like maybe this ball maybe should have been called a decades ball. Because I feel like after like the second house, we didn't get old Hollywood. We got decades. But anyway, I'll get to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all put it in the chat. Y'all let me know. So the first house we had the house of Garçon. Mother Stasha 8. Sasha. Y'all know what I'm talking about. 8, baby. She was everything. And then there was she was selling face, honey. She was the center of attention. And then at a certain point, the rest of the group, they used the feathers to cover her face. Bitch changed her wig. I said, bitch, what? I mean, she changed her wig. Listen. I was here for all of it. All of it. So, everybody really liked what they saw. They walked away with a 49, I believe they got. I believe their score was a 49. Then we had, the house of, Orichi. And they were giving old Hollywood as well. They were giving and let me tell you something. From the minute they came out on stage to the minute they left, I got 1950s Cotton Club, Harlem Renaissance. I was waiting for Calloway to come down the steps, baby. It was giving me all of that. They was giving me high energy. They were giving all of that. My only complaint that I wrote in my notes, I didn't see a whole lot of the face. They weren't giving a lot of the face, and the judges agreed with me as well. So we got a 40. They got a 47. Okay. Then this is where I said we sort of took a left turn, because the next house that came out was the house of Milan, and they were doing Soul Train disco. So I felt like we went from Cotton Club to Studio 54. And the description that y'all gave me was old Hollywood, glamour. Now, I love the 70s. I love disco. Hell, I want to go to Studio 54. I want to get in the time machine, and I want to be in Studio 54, and I want to see what it was to be seen, okay? But that ain't what y'all told us we were getting. And unfortunately, the House of Milan ain't give me nothing either. I wrote in my notes that they were good but boring. They were giving us this whole like Soul Train line thing. I couldn't tell you who was serving face. And the judges really agree with me. They got a 28. Now remember, because we have an extra judge, the highest possible points is 50. Now, when we were looking at their, their little package of them getting it together, they seemed like they were not on the same page. They were being very politically correct, and they were trying not to let like us know that they might have been having some internal conflict. But Malik, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like there was a whole lot of voices in the room. There were a whole lot of opinions, and they were not on the same page. And it really came through in their presentation. We learned a lot about the mother of the house, Mother Jocelyn. We found out that, when she was younger, her mother was a drug addict and basically ended up, was that her? Lord, I be trying to put stories on people that they ain't tell, that ain't their story. I feel like that was her story, where she was taught, her mother taught her how to cook and then left her. She was a drug addict and she ended up, grandmother, she kept her brothers alive and child. I hope that's her story. That's her. I really hope that was her story. It was a sad story, whoever's story it was. But I think it was her, y'all. I know y'all gonna tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Anyway, the next house we have is the House of Lux. Again, my notes here is that they are not on the same page. Father Nemo was the first time walking face. They did like a future Hollywood, and I never saw face. I know it was his first time walking face. I know y'all are short a member. I know y'all got a lot going on, but I didn't know who was serving face. I didn't know who was giving me face. I didn't understand. And again, the judges also agreed with me. Their score was low as well. They were like a 20. They got like I ain't write it down, but they were in the 20s as well, child. They got a low score too. Okay, low score too. They were in the 20s. I think they were a little bit higher, but they were in the 20s. Then we had the House of Icon. Now let me say this: they did 60s, and they were here for it. They did opulence. They gave us high class 60s, because I think a lot of times we think 60s and sometimes we think like Woodstock, but they were giving us like high class with the feathers and the big boas and things like that. Now the person that they picked to do face, she was beautiful and she was giving everything, but in my notes I wrote it took them too long for us to get face from her. But once we got it, baby, woo wee. But the judges said the same thing. But the judges agree with me as well. But they did get a high score. Now, me and La Roche actually agreed on something, because the other judges were sort of taking points away from them about certain things, he was like, "What are you talking about? This is vintage ballroom, what they giving me." The girl that they had serving face looked like Pepper LaBeija. And I said, you know what? I said the same thing. I was sitting here watching it and I said, she looked like a lot. There's a lot of old clips of Mother LaBeija. She looked just like her. And he said, now I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, but he gave them a lot of credit for that. He ended up giving them a 10. They did pretty good. I gotta do better about writing these points down, child, but Icon did good. But that's how I felt too. I felt like she was giving us Mother LaBeija. I felt like it with the high blonde wig and the yes. Y'all know them old clips that been floating around on YouTube of her reading the fuck out of people. Anyway, next we had the House of Balenciaga. Okay, Mother Shannon. They were doing an old throwback to My Fair Lady. Now, I'm going to give them, because they were on point Tinseltown. They were doing a throwback to an old classic, a vintage movie, My Fair Lady. Listen, Mother Shannon says she don't dance. She don't dance. She said, I get face. I look cute. I don't dance. But she was dancing, okay? And not only was she dancing, baby, she was on them knees. She was giving us Megan Thee Stallion. She was giving us old Vogue. And when I say she did a 360 turn doing the old Vogue, I said, bitch. Yes. Balenciaga was everything from the beginning. They were high energy. They was up in the air. Like I said, I couldn't keep my eyes off of Mother Shannon. And Balenciaga got almost a perfect score. They got a 49, and I was here for it. They deserved it. They really deserved the 50. Personally, that's how I felt. That's what they deserve, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying. The house of, let me tell you something. Mugler, y'all know I'm partial to them because my girl Tati is not dancing, is performing with them. Okay, y'all know how I feel about my Tati, and of course she was serving face. She was giving face. Okay, she was beautiful. My only critique of them was the same critique that the judges had, was that I felt like they were moving so fast and doing so much that they didn't allow Tati to have a moment of face, playing to the judges, doing her face to the judges. But they were good. They were coordinated. They looked good. And they got a 45, so they're safe because we know we already got 2 houses that's in the 20s, honey, so they're safe. Okay, they know they ain't at the top, but they ain't going home. Okay. And theirs was like expensive 60s. They were very expensive. I wouldn't even say 60s. I might say 50s for them. But very expensive on the high end of it, right? Then we had the house of, now I wrote it down, Tashi. So I'm gonna say that is Tashi. Bitch. Who else? Well, wait a minute. Another house got a perfect. There were 2 houses that got 50s. Or what it? No. No. Hold on, let me, child, I gotta read my own notes. Okay, no. Yeah. Okay. They did an 80s performance. First of all, I absolutely felt like I was transformed into the 80s. They had the high top fade, they had the whole color scheme, they had the big, like the outfits that you would see. It absolutely gave the 80s reference. That's why I say this really should have been a decades thing, but anyway. But it absolutely gave the 80s reference. The young lady that they chose to serve face, bitch, she gave face. When I say from beginning to end, she controlled that stage. From beginning to end, she was giving us all of the face. Bitch. In the house of Tashi, I'm gonna make sure I say that right, y'all. They got the first perfect 10 of the season, and they were also superior house because they're going by points, so it's a lot easier this year to know. So because they got the only perfect 10, they were superior house. We got a couple of 49s, but they were sorry, y'all. The 2 bottom houses was the House of Lux and the House of Milan. Becky, who danced for the House of Lux last week, also let me turn my ring on. And the House of Milan chose Malik. Remember I told y'all Malik was the one that was like, we ain't on the same page. And they danced off. Now I felt like, because Lux was at the bottom last week, because they're missing a member, I felt like it was probably time for them to go home. I feel like they were going to continue to struggle. Maybe they need to, regroup, maybe try to come back next year. I really felt like, and I understand the show must go on. You lose a member, the show must go on. But if the member you lost was your explosive, the person that's going to do backflips from the ceiling, like if that's the person that you lost, you sort of lost that energy level. And so it was time for Lux to go. They did fight the good fight, and I can appreciate the fact that they kept fighting, but it was time for them to go. And so the House of Lux went, and Milan is still here to see another day. Now, Milan, y'all did decent last week. Y'all did horrible this week on the Grand March. Y'all did horrible this week. Y'all better regroup, because I feel like if y'all end up in the bottom again, I feel like that's what it's going to be. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm going to get these names right. I apologize. Don't get in my comments too bad, okay? All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.